Hey tubers, Tony D here. Hope you're all doing well. I've been getting a few requests in my Discord from some newer streamers about sizing your table to your overlay. Poker sites used to use the window capture. Now, a lot of them are switching over to the display capture. For some reason, I can't answer you why. And it's becoming an issue, trying to size tables. Alright, so if we put the table in our overlay and we physically grab the table and try and size it to fit in the overlay, like so, bottom player is gone. So we'll have to make the table smaller so we can see the bottom table, the bottom player. But now, if you look over here on the right, there's a whole space over here. So we position the table over there, and then there's a space on the right. So now we size it up again, and the players on the left are gone. So it's a pain in the friggin' ass, right? So we are going to size these tables by using display capture. But a lot of the new streamers that are not familiar with OBS or with OBS Studios or Streamlabs OBS, and they try display capture and they see this on their window and they're like, what the hell is this? I don't know what to do here, and this is an issue. So we use two monitors at the moment, so I'm going to try and do this so I can pull over my OBS here. So we can sort of, I'll just keep pulling it back and forth so we can see what we can do. Okay, so in your OBS Studios or Slobs, whatever you're using, in the source section, you'll see the little plus icon where you add things. So you're going to click on that plus icon and you're going to hit display capture. And then this window is going to pop up. I'm going to leave this labeled as display capture 2 so I can reference this. But name it however you want. As you can see, I have main table, table 1, table 2, table 3. I have a whole bunch of tables labeled. So I'm just going to leave this as display capture number 2. We're going to hit OK. And then when we do so, this window is going to pop up. Alright? It's going to look like this. You're going to want to make sure that if you're using two monitors, down here where it says display, you're going to want to pick the table that you're using and then hit OK. So now it's displaying my main monitor. So if you can see this red box around the display, this is picking up the entire monitor. It's displaying everything that's on the monitor. This red box has little red colored squares in the centers and on the corners. You're going to want to grab that and shrink it down. Just grab that corner and shrink it down, and then move it right into your overlay square. So now it looks like this. If you look up top, you see my mouse moving around, so you can get an idea of what I'm doing. I know it's hard to see while I have my broadcasting software on this monitor. So now I'm going to go to the bottom right and grab this red square with my mouse and stretch it out so it somewhat fits in the table. So now underneath here, underneath the bottom of this red line, the table doesn't fit correctly. So let me move this over here. Now keep in mind of these red squares, one in the middle and all in the corners, okay? So I'm going to move this over here so maybe we can get a better view of what I'm doing. And we are going to highlight the left table. that's the one I want to fit right in my overlay, this left table here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the red box in the middle, the red colored box, by holding my Alt key, ALT, and holding my mouse down, left clicking it down. I'm going to grab this red line and bring it up. I'm going to grab this red line and bring it up right to the bottom of the player on the bottom, right where I want it to be. And then I'm going to come all the way to the right over here in the middle. Again, keep an eye on my mouse so you can see where I'm doing this. I'm going to grab that. I'm going to hold down the Alt key again. I'm going to crop this whole section out. So now it should just be right there where my table is. So now you can see this little section that I've just cropped out, which is highlighting this left table. So I'm going to go to the bottom right corner again and stretch out the table as much as I can to fit it right into my overlay window. So me personally, I don't like this white bar up top, or a lot of things I don't like. So I'm going to try and size it correctly by holding my Alt key down, the red square in the middle, and I'm going to drag it down, and I'm going to cover all of this stuff up top here just until the top of the cards. So you don't see anything else that was up there. Now all you do is see the cards. I'm going to let go of the Alt key, and then I'm going to position my table again. And now my table is somewhat fitted in my screen correctly. As you can see, the bottom here is not fitted in. So back to these red boxes. We're going to grab this middle red box, but this time we're going to hold down the Shift key, because the Shift key will stretch out your table. Not your Enter key like I just did. Your Shift key, and it will stretch out your table. See that? And you don't lose any of your cropping. You don't lose any of that. So now your table is somewhat fit in to your overlay. Okay, so I'm going to move this over here. So now when you're in your OBS and you have your table labeled, your display capture 2 is what I had mine labeled. If you highlight that and right click on it, a pop-up window is going to come up. It's going to say transform. And then you hover over transform, and then another window is going to pop up, and it's going to say edit transform. And then this is going to come up. Okay, so what this does is, if you see on the left side of my table, you can see behind my table as I'm moving it. So this is how you're going to fit it in your overlay window perfectly, by using this position. It slides the table right to where you want it to go. I want mine to go right to that white line, and it's perfectly in there. Now watch the top up here. I'm going to do the same thing with the top with the next position. See how the table's coming down? I'm going to want it to go all the way up to the top. Right there. And it fits in the overlay perfectly. So now, underneath position, you see rotation and size. Position and size is the only thing you're going to need. So on the right side of my table, you can see the space here, and you can see what's behind it. So this is where we use the size. The size doesn't move the table. It's like the Shift key. It stretches it. So now I'm just stretching it, and it's covering it. And do we need to do that to the bottom too? It looks like we can do it to the bottom a little bit. But you can mess around with these keys and figure out on how exactly you want your table to be set. And it fits it in absolutely perfectly. Okay, so another thing I want to show you regarding this is I want to stretch out my table even further on the right side here. So now if I stretch it out, it's going to start covering the white line, and it's going to stretch out over my overlay. Okay, we don't want it covering our overlay. So what you'd have to do is, now that I just set up a new display capture, my display and my sources is all the way on top. So I would grab that display capture, how you highlighted it before, with your left click, hold it down, and you can just actually move that display capture all the way down in position underneath your overlay. So now my overlay is covering it. So now my overlay is covering the extra part that was hanging out on the right. So if I grab that display capture and I put it over my overlay in my sources, it pops out again. You see how that's popping out and going covered over there on the right? And that's how you get rid of that problem right there. So let me take my display capture again and put it underneath in my sources, underneath my overlay. And now that whole right side is gone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to resize it again. I'm going to shrink it down. And there it is. Okay, so that's how you do that. That's how you fit your tables into your overlay. But let me just make it look good. Let's lower the bottom there. The bottom's in there nice. And then the side. See how my white line's showing back up on my overlay window? And it's right there. Okay. And there is my table. So now if it's a little off, you can physically grab the table itself and move it around to where you want. And now it looks absolutely perfect. Right? So if you're using a dual overlay like this, you have to do it the exact same way. You have to make two display capture windows now. So when you label your table, instead of labeling it table 1, table 2, table 3, when you use your dual overlay, you label table, left table and right table. And that's what I have on my double overlay. And you go through the same steps with the cropping and the transforming and making it a perfect size. And that's it. It's fairly simple and it's fairly quick, as you can see. It took, what, 5 minutes to do this? 10 minutes, if that long. If you have any questions, leave a message in a comment. I'll also leave a couple of links in the description. One to my Discord if you're a new streamer. If you need help with anything, feel free to jump in. We have a lot of mods in there. We have a lot of knowledgeable people in there to help. Happy to help out. So check out the links in the description. Thank you again for watching the video. I hope this helped you. And good luck. And I'll see you on the felts, guys.